presentation portion of this event. I guess I normally would say at this point, just be aware that we're recording. So prepare for YouTube stardom if you are a question asker or I don't know, the back of your head gets into the video or something like that. They do go up on the internet app, so just be aware of that. Also, we do encourage tweeting and photos, so if you do not want to be in those, just duck dodge out of them. Yeah, I guess we have here tonight a group that really gets into the heart of why we show up here every week. They are, we have Kate, Zen, Glemma, and Tommy, who are from Hackbridge. And this is a program that tries to see underrepresented street-involved youth, getting them into tech programs. And I guess they're here to talk to us about the Hackbridge program. So if you guys wanted to come up, and if you give them a round of applause.
Hey, my name is Kate, and I'm going to kind of keep my part really short so that Tommy and Lana can come up and just present their projects. A little bit about Hackbridge. I'm from New York. Background is in sociology and policy research. And one of the things that we kind of look at one of the organizations that I worked at in New York was called Streetwise and Safe, which is working with street-based youth in street economies, sex work, and drug-based economies to work on issues with police as well as issues with employment. So I'm here in Toronto on a brief contract with Sketch, which is an organization that works with marginalized youth as well as street-involved youth to provide arts programming that leads to employment. And so Hackbridge is a new program at Sketch this year, and it's kind of based off of a model from New York, not exactly. Some of the goals of Hackbridge in the 9-week, 10 in total with the final presentation, is to prepare folks to get into boot camps that could potentially lead to long-term employment. I think the scene for boot camps in New York and the United States is a little bit different than in Canada. In the US, the salaries for developers are very different than here, and two, the tuition rates are ridiculously high in the United States, and so for a lot of people, like, university education is such a barrier to any type of social equality that programs like boot camps really offer a way for people to sort of short-circuit the whole university educational system that is actually quite oppressive and have a chance at actually, getting to some even playing field. And so I wanted to sort of show a couple of the projects that the youth have created at Hackbridge this year. This was with Hugo. He created like a robotics project with Arduino, with temperature-based sensors and motors. We can keep scrolling down. That's his blog. We'll go down some more. Glemma, who's here, has created this website, Trendy Hijabi, for stylish hijabi. And the logo right there was one of the things that we worked on in our class. I'm using Illustrator and LiveTrace to create logos from photos. We have Tommy, who's going to be presenting his app shortly on navigating the streets of Toronto. We have Daniel's Code Pen, House of Burger, his burger making project, and a golden sponge cake, a recipe for sponge cake, and then Rex's final project was how to improve the Google search algorithm. We talked about PageRank, and his idea is to create something that allows people to weigh in, like Reddit, on searches. So that was his idea, his project. And then we have Anika, who does photography and put together this blog on WordPress. And and we have one other thing, and an animation, another recipe hand-coded page by Jasper and animation. So these are some of the projects created by youth over the course of 10 weeks at Sketch. And the hope going forward is that this project will continue, and that other folks in the Toronto tech community will want to take part and maybe volunteer and help support the ongoing progress of this group at Sketch. One of the reasons, as a sociology person, I would say that one of the things that we see missing, whether it's in research about people as well as in the ecology of creating apps, is that the people who create these things, the people who do the research, tend to focus very much on themselves. So in San Francisco, you have 1 million apps being built every year about how to find the latest party. It would be nice to sort of see that brought in and to really see, not just representation in terms of the interests of the apps that are created and part of, the civic tech group and other groups in society, but also to see that the people building those apps are the people who are impacted by them. And so with that in mind, I also want to shout out to Jonathan and Vinny who came and volunteered Toronto Mesh Networks and gave a really amazing guest lecture with us. But anyway, with that in mind, maybe we can introduce Tommy.
Thank you, Kate. I don't usually do public presentations very well. Those that I did, especially in front of this many people, like, no. And when I used to fail in school for whatever I did. So this is sort of if I stutter or if I embarrass myself, please. So I'm a really, really good participant in a not-for-profit organization for homeless and marginalized youth called the Sketch Youth Initiatives. So it's like a program where people between the age of 15 to 29 would go on a daily or weekly basis if, let's say they have nothing else to do or they need support. And then Sketch has these art programs on a daily basis that would keep everyone busy. So what we're ultimately doing is channeling our energy into positive stuff, like art, creative things, this and that. So, all right, so I designed a program, like an app in in her workshop that targets, that reflects a problem. So this is sort of my scenario at a certain time in my life back then. So you're a homeless or street-involved youth in Toronto. Your needs, people think, are very simple, but no, it's actually not that simple. And here are a few of our concerns. Number one, like at nighttime, where are my nearest shelters and bath places? And number two, where can I be fed if I am hungry? And number three, where are my nearest community service centers and support places? For example, if I'm sick, where do I go to the hospital? Where are my healthcare clinics, addiction clinics? And last but not least, like what are some of the numbers I can call in case I'm in an emergency or in case I'm in a real crisis? Can we have the next slide, please? So, Streets of Toronto, the app, or whatever we're going to name it, helps to, counter a lot of these problems. So upon launching the application, the GPS will show where you are in the city if you turn the GPS function on. So then it's not the map that's going to show up, but it's a menu. Of course, this could be a little better designed. So we have a better experience, but in a nutshell, wherever we are, it shows us the nearest housing, the nearest food bank, the nearest community center, the nearest health clinic and hospital, and the nearest library. And then we have three other things we can look at: distress hotline, friends list, GPS. These are options I'll talk about later. Basically, you can select whatever you need. For example, where can I find the nearest health clinic or hospital, right? I select it, and then the application scrolls over, and then you'll see where you are in relation, in proximity to where you want to go. So this is really, okay, so this slide right here, let's say if I was in trouble, so I select free distress call, whether I have actual phone service or not, insofar as I have Wi-Fi or insofar as data. This could be like an emergency thing, like for example, I need to call the kids' help phone, women's emergency hotline, crisis intervention like suicide hotline or whatever, 911 emergency, of course, or I can choose to speak to a friend. So the social media thing right here is not unlike a lot of other social media websites that you go on to, but the thing is, for a lot of us, we have an inherent distrust for, I guess, like popular social media. Like, we don't, a lot of us, we don't update our Facebook very often. There's a lot of sort of like rebellion or distrust against what we think is like conventional things. We think we're being spied on, this and that. So like I guess like, and plus this is like even a tighter circle, right? For example, whoever I meet at Sketch and whoever I meet at the shelter or whatever, this is just a social media for those people who are intimately closer to me than people who I would otherwise probably get on Facebook. So, okay. So then, right here, you can choose to be whether online or offline. You can add friends. And then the social media component to this chat is the canvas board. Can we please get to the next one? All right, so canvas board, one can draw a lot of parallel between, I guess, the canvas board and the Facebook feeds, but except like, because we come from like a sketch and artful background, you know, canvas board sounds a lot more appealing, and plus you can post whatever you made, for example at Sketch, or if you do like street art, you can put it on for other people to see. The second person can post a message. As you can see, the example of the second person, he says, "Someone please talk to me, I'm dealing with a lot of issues." The third one, someone else can perhaps into somewhere. Perhaps he's inviting other people to join him or her. And then for, you know, like for organizers, they can also have this app, and then they can promote, you know, free cooking lessons today, 3 p.m. at Sketch. If you're reading this, please come here. These events are not uncommon at Sketch. And then, so like in terms of marketing and proliferation of like, you know, like this is a lot better than printing out posters and handing them out physically or word of mouth. A lot of people would see this, and even like I guess spoken word, or if I use the recording studio at Sketch to release an MP3, I can also share my MP3 here, or even, you know, for example, me talking right now, this could be released for other people to listen to. This is just a way for us to engage with people within our own immediate community. You know, not so much something that would be very intimidating, like Facebook. So this would be maybe my canvas for the day. Oh, I'm selling my art today. Please come check it out. I'll be at around Queen and Shaw. Okay, so here's another function of the program. You can locate where your friends are if they choose to allow themselves to be on the map. This is sort of important sometimes because, like, you know, sometimes like just because of the nomadic nature of not having a stable home, like one can disappear from our lives for a long time, and then we would ask, hey, where the hell did, you know, Chris go? You know, is he okay? You know, safety, is he safe? You know, is he still in the city, right? So like having a program like this enables us to sort of like, it's like a check and balance thing to make sure that perhaps like, you know, our friends are still safe, or you know, easier for us to get a hold of them, so on and so forth. Can we go on to the next slide? Thank you. Okay, so a lot of us, we may not have smartphones. That's okay. So I heard that a lot of you, so some of you are with the Toronto Public Library. So this is sort of like where we would like to go. A lot of times when we need to use the internet. So we can go on a website that has mostly the same functions, most if not all of the functions as provided by the app. You'll still get to sort of see where you are. You can log in to get in touch with your friends, tell them that you're fine, you're still alive. If you're feeling down, there's the distress. If you need to go to the food bank, you know, you can click on these options, so on and so forth. Here are just some other implementations that maybe we can make in like version 2.0 or in the future. For example, like Sketch has a lot of monthly programming and events, so, you know, like if you're working with not-for-profit governmental organizations, like they can sort of have their own section on the app where they can post their events, right, provided that it happens you know, on a regular interval. So that way, because I see us, we print a lot of like posters and we print a lot of those cards, and they barely get handed out, and then when people get handed them, they don't know what they are. So like I feel like if they could use, you know, if they could upload their posters or cards or promotions onto something like this, it would gear better towards their own targeted audience, people who would actually come to these events. Number 2, this talks about other third-party agencies. Okay, so like services and institutions can apply for themselves to be on the map. For example, if a health clinic opens, they can have their listing immediately, so that it doesn't take time for something to update like the traditional methods, like yellow pages or white pages, so on and so forth. Another thing. This was suggested to me, and I thought it was a really good suggestion. Users of non-smartphones with, let's say, no data can text their location, can text the number, and then a number would respond with a menu, and then we could use something like Twilio technology to fetch data from the back end of our website, streettotoronto.ca or whatever, and then turn it into SMS. It will tell you where can you go from here in order to get to that place, or what event is happening, when is it happening, how you need to navigate there. And then let's say if you don't even have a cell phone, right? You're dialing from a payphone. This could also be, this could also be a voice automation function. You have dialed, 1-800. In order to get to this place, press 1. In order to get to that place, please press 2. So these are just ideas that we can juggle around with. Okay, I'm going to get into why I built this program. A lot of this has sort of talked about while I was here, but I'm going to focus on this in and of itself. Even with plenty of help and resources available, homeless and street-involved youth experience very great difficulty sort of like locating what's available around us, right? I've been street involved for a long time, but it's only been recently, like the recent year or two, have I been taking advantage of Sketch, partly just because I don't know Sketch exists, right? I've heard of Queens West Community Center, but I haven't been there until I actually knew where it was. So like a lot of these things, we're supposed to know where they are, but we don't. We're sort of disconnected from these resources that people think are so blatantly available to us. Number 2, street involved youth, we experience isolation and alienation from I guess like, from society, from each other, right? We're sort of like, we feel like we're ostracized from everyone. We could be at a great distance from each other for a long time, right? A social media network could help us feel closer to each other on a level, and this could have incredible amount of impact combating mental health issues, right? This could have an incredible impact on us psychologically, right? Dealing with, so we don't have to resort to depression, alienation, bad thoughts. Knowing that we have a support network of our peer and whatever. Sketch is so number 3. Sketch is a place where youth come in and express themselves. With this application and the Canvas board in particular, we can always express ourselves to our friends anytime, whether Sketch is open or not. So with that, we can post our thoughts, we can post our visual work, multimedia, and we can also get more honest feedbacks from our friends, seeing that people tend to give better feedback when they reply to something on the internet rather than to your face. But of course, that's not the most important. Okay, so last but not least, during times of emergency, it's always nice to be able to immediately call numbers or talk to friends that you can trust, right? Whether you have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or not. This would be something that's better for us, speaking on our own experience. Okay, so by building and fostering a community outside of Facebook, youth may feel less barriers opening up to one another, people within our circle. This would greatly reduce the risks to like hidden mental health or psychological challenges that we face. An example here, hey John, I saw your post and I thought I'd reach out. Can you tell me what's wrong? Oh, I've been depressed and I've been thinking about doing, non-constructive things to myself. And then, I guess the girl here, she says, I want you to know you're not alone. I was once in your shoes and I thought this event coming up would help you get through it because it worked for me. I can come with you that day if you want. And then John was so happy with what way she shared and the fact that she reached out. He says, oh, that's some cool shit, dog, I appreciate it. And by the way, I drew this, I'm going to send it over to you, I made this for you. So, there you go. This is just perhaps an example of a conversation that can take place, right? So someone's in a bad position, but because of this, it took a turn towards something perhaps more positive than if this conversation did not take place. I can answer some questions. Yeah, sure. Sure. You probably wouldn't get many quality answers out of me, but
I think there's a lot to learn from you.
So, Glenn is a multi-talented global citizen. Budding app mogul considers her recent foray into coding to be long overdue. Feeling greatly empowered by her newly acquired skills, she insists that she is in it for the long haul, in addition to creating apps that positively impact people's lives. She plans to create her own e-commerce website to launch her fashion and jewelry lines. Grateful to Sketch and Hackbridge for expanding her horizons, Glenma would like to say thank you to Civic Tech and all of you for the opportunity to present her first app idea. Please extend a warm welcome to Glenma.
This is my opening page. I worked hard on that. But thank you for having me. This is my first ever app. I'm super new to coding, and hopefully you like my first app idea. Oh, there we go. Always starting it off good. So, being that I'm a Trekkie, mainly next generation, but a little bit of DS9 and maybe some Voyagers Virgo on top, let's assume that an alien comes here today, and how would we explain the internet and social media? So we would tell the aliens that all the interactions in social media facilitated instant communication like email and Twitter, file sharing like Napster and torrents, hacked the social norms. For instance, the acceptable text message response time. So therefore, the faster I respond to you means that I love you more, I respect you more, and if I don't get back, then you think I basically hate your guts. We would explain instant gratification in society. That means that if you don't continually post, you are completely forgotten by all of your friends. You basically fall off the radar. And lest we forget that if I don't like enough of your photos, I won't be invited to your next party. Sad. So. There we go. Really? Is that what we got into? I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but not everyone has the luxury of what has been quoted as being the average 4 hours to spend on Facebook a day. And I equally regret that I don't feel like liking your pictures on Instagram my part-time job. And if that wasn't vivid enough depiction of how technology has changed or has challenged people like myself, I've lost friends due to unrealistic and unsustainable social media norms. And we continue to suffer missed opportunities because they were only advertised on social media platforms. And nowadays, employers won't even hire you if you're not on LinkedIn, so says every networking seminar that I've been to. That is preposterous, folks. Okay. But unfortunately, that's the world that we live in, a world that does not think about the technologically challenged. The people that are limited by knowledge and perhaps didn't grow up having access, or the people that due to economic constraints can't access technology and social media as much as they would like to. And lastly, the people that are so burnt out from the overstimulation that the mere thought of checking social media gives them heart palpitations and that tense feeling in your head right before you get a headache, which would be me. In the case of the third point, lack of willingness to access, let's face it, we're being bombarded and tolerances are diminishing. But what if I didn't have to log into Facebook to receive an update that my friend was in Kensington Market, Kate? And I would now see the pertinent information in a beautiful feed, programmable to sync only on Wi-Fi if that's your situation, or whatever frequency you choose. Which brings you to my app idea. So I made this logo based on Maori indigenous symbol, which symbolizes 4 women sitting in a circle and talking. So I basically took it from there, and based on the look of it, I was thinking we could call it Cocoon. I'm open to suggestions. Whatever, it's a starting point. So my app is a sophisticated and intuitive content management application that makes limited social media interactions efficient and concise, as well as facilitates building connections. Okay. You can enter each contact and only ever get the feed updates or reminders according to the user preferences that you set in per contact. So therefore it's completely customizable. This increases the possible connections with real life people, easier to coordinate and rendezvous. So this is just a little, I guess, mock-up. You would have, the contact, all these tabs could be personalized. So the image on the side, so just to kind of a few details. So the image, for instance, you could either get it from your camera, or you could take it from you can make it syncable with various social media, because people change their contact photos often, and it would be nice to have that, right on your phone and just keep up to date with what people are doing without having to check all these millions of social platforms. The tabs, the preferences would be would be preferences, the feed, and the personal profile of that person. So under the name, for instance, so many customizable sections. The preferred name, is it a spirit name, is it a nickname? You can put what the name would be. The government name, the official name. We use a lot of names on the street. I'm not a gang member, don't worry. But, and then you can put their preferred pronoun, he, she, they, maybe their sexual orientation, are they gay, are they two-spirit, whatever. Telephone numbers, different drop-downs. Personally, I collect every number that anyone's ever given me. I never delete it, just in case they call me and I want to know who it is. Different addresses, physical mailing, email, even their birthday, different things like that. So this is my wireframing, ta-da! So I definitely downloaded a few apps to try and do this and went online, but it's beautiful. You get the idea, the difference. So this would be maybe once you click one of the tabs, preferences, the feed, different things, the scrolling on the right. You guys are the tech people. You tell me what needs to go where. Again, different drop downs and all the different things you can customize. You don't have to use every option, but the idea is that, we meet a lot of people, but it's hard to keep up with them. It's hard to, when you're actually talking to someone, it's hard to remember all the little details that they told you. And I guess my history in working for call centers and updating customer notes, I'm always like, why didn't we have that for ourselves? But mostly this app as well, it can remind you to text people. It can remind you. So if I say, Kate's my new best friend, I can't remember to contact anyone for the life of me because I'm just so busy with life. I could say, once a month, a pop-up. call Kate, boom, it's done. Or I'll put on her profile, I want to remember Tommy's birthday, you know, and every year I will call him because why? Not because of an amazing memory, but because it's popped up in the app. So I hope that gives you a little idea. Let's see here. Oh, there we go, thank you. So as of this point, our alien friends are completely on board with this app, all right? They're saying if you don't want to help develop this, you're absolutely crazy. So basically, help me, help you, and help others who are just so technologically burnt out, and they really just want friends and opportunities, and it's not fair. It's a downright injustice that you have to be on Facebook or different social medias to really be fostering connections, and I would beg to ask the question, are those things actually bringing us closer together? My app would. Thank you.